Hi, I'm a possum and I find garbage. And I just saw the new Mario movie, the new animated one from Illumination. Not to be confused with the 1993 movie with Bob Hoskins. Now that one had almost nothing to do with the Mario franchise, almost as if they were like embarrassed to be making a movie based on a video game. This new movie though is like the exact opposite. It's pretty much nothing but references to various Mario media, including references to things from like 30, almost 40 years ago, like the Super Mario Bros. Super Show, or like old NES games. So you might think, oh, this is a kid's movie because it's animated and it's bright and colorful. Well, no, there's stuff in there that only older fans of Mario are going to understand. So they had both adults and children in mind when they made the movie, so if you're an adult, you can still enjoy the movie, if you're a fan of Mario, of course. If you're not, you're probably going to hate this movie. Now, in this review, I don't really have a script. I'm just kind of reading off of my notes here, so it's going to be pretty unstructured. I'm just going to kind of jump from topic to topic, so bear with me. The voice acting was okay. Chris Pratt as Mario didn't really bother me. I know a lot of people are mad about that, how they replaced Charles Martinet, who normally does the voice of Mario. They replaced him with Chris Pratt, who's not really a voice actor, because that's what they do now. Instead of getting like a professional voice actor to voice a character in a cartoon, they just get like, screen actors like you would see in like a live action movie, because they're more recognizable to normies. It helps sell tickets. Charles Martinet, he just has a cameo in the movie. Chris Pratt's performance was okay, wasn't great. His accent kept changing. Anya Taylor-Joy as Princess Peach was also okay, just kind of uninspired. She just sounds like she's just doing generic woman voice. Keegan-Michael Key and Seth Rogen can go f*** themselves. The worst voice was Cranky Kong. I don't even know who did his voice. His voice sucks. He's not even cranky. It's not just the voice. His character is wrong. He's supposed to be cranky, but he's not. Now, the best character by far is Bowser, played by Jack Black. And there's like actually a part in the movie where he sings. He's like singing this like love ballad for Princess Peach while playing the piano. It's like, that's probably the best part of the movie. And the Jack Blackness of his voice really comes out in that scene. I'm imagining that Jack Black probably improvised it and they just threw it in. The fact that Bowser knows how to play piano just kind of lends a little bit of depth to his character, because it makes you wonder if he learned how to play piano just to try to impress Princess Peach. But the character development in this movie in general is pretty minimal. Like, you got Mario, he's kind of his parents are kind of disappointed in him because he quit his job to try to start his own plumbing company. They say he's like dragging Luigi down with him because now their plumbing business is struggling. It's almost like the beginning of the '93 movie. It starts with them, they have like a struggling plumbing business, and then they somehow find a portal underground that goes into like the magical world where the rest of the movie takes place. It's a weird thing. At the beginning, I'm gonna try to not spoil it, but at the beginning of the movie, they find out that there's a big pipe leaking, like a water main or something leaking underground in the middle of Brooklyn. So they rush over to try to fix it so they can become heroes. And while they're there, they find this big green pipe underground that just goes to the Mushroom Kingdom. It's like a magic portal, and like when you go through it, it shows them like flying through like this cloudy, ethereal space, kind of like in the Thor movies when they, travel from like Asgard to Earth or whatever. It's kind of like that. They're going through like this interdimensional space. And it's never explained why this magic pipe is underground in the middle of Brooklyn. Like, the '93 movie did a similar thing where there's like a magic portal under the ground, but that movie at least explains it. This movie does not. It doesn't even attempt to explain it. Maybe they're saving that for the sequel. Because another thing, Princess Peach is the only other human in the Mushroom Kingdom aside from Mario and Luigi. And, this kind of comes up briefly in the movie as like a character thing that's not really explored in much depth, but they're probably saving that for the sequel. That's probably why they brought it up. Now, speaking of Princess Peach is portrayed as so competent and skilled at pretty much everything she does that you wonder why she even needs Mario. You know, like, a lot of people were kind of apprehensive because of the marketing that made her look like the stereotypical strong female character. Like, she's gonna emasculate Mario, and the movie's really gonna be about her and just how badass she is. It's not that bad in the movie. You know, Mario is still the main character. It's still his story. He has to do stuff. And, you know, he ends up having to rescue Princess Peach later on. And I'm wondering if this is the reason why so many of these, you know, so-called professional critics are giving so many, you know, negative reviews to the movie. They probably thought it was going to be that. That's what they wanted. They wanted to have, like, this, you know, feminist power fantasy where the lead female just emasculates the male lead. You know, like we see in so many movies these days. That's probably what they wanted, and that's not what the movie is. Now, Mario's character, you know how in the games he's kind of portrayed as like this overly happy, cheerful guy who runs around yelling wahoo and stuff like that? He's not like that in the movie. He's kind of, not sure how to describe him, but his character is different, but that I think that's fine because Mario has never really had a consistent character throughout the past, like, 40 years. In the original games, he didn't even really have a character. He was just a sprite on a screen. And then, like, the Super Mario Bros. Super Show came out, and then he had a completely different character then than what he did in, like, later media. And I guess this movie is just yet another interpretation of that. So, I'm not really upset that Mario's character is totally different, because he's just never been consistent. Most of the references in the movie are actually justified by the plot. So, for example, there's a part where they have to, like, get in these cars and drive on the Rainbow Road. So it's like, you know, that's obviously a reference to Mario Kart, but it's justified in the plot because there's, like, a part in the story where they're like, oh, we have to get to this place before Bowser does, so we have to get there really fast. So let's get in these cars and drive on the Rainbow Road. I mean, it's not a super strong justification for everything in the movie, but, you know, they try. There's at least an attempt to justify the references. And one thing that was kind of disappointing to me was there's no references to the 1993 movie, or at least none that I noticed. You know, I thought it would have been funny if they at least acknowledged that the 93 movie exists. Like, I don't know, if they could have got, like, a cameo from Dennis Hopper or something, that would have been funny. Now, one thing that kind of bugged me, and this bothers me anytime I see it in any movie, there are several instances where Mario gets beat up and thrown around in ways which would have resulted in, you know, horrible bodily injuries, and then he just gets up like nothing happened. And I understand this is a cartoon and it's working on like Looney Tunes logic, so of course he's not going to get injured, but it just kind of raises the question of why does he even need the power-ups if he's essentially unkillable anyway. You know, this is a thing that I always see, and it's particularly common in, like, modern action movies, where a character will get, like, punched by a monster or something, and gets sent, you know, flying through the air, like, 100 feet. You know, they got hit with, like, the same force that they would have if they got hit by a speeding bus or something. And then, you know, the type of force that would have killed them. But then they just get up like it's no big deal. And then it's like all the tension's gone because, you know, the main character has plot armor, and then nothing can hurt them anyway. I mean, it's kind of hard to complain about that sort of thing when you talk about a cartoon like the Mario movie, but, you know, it's just one of those things that just bugs the hell out of me anytime I see it in any movie. But of course, the Mario movie is not meant to be taken super seriously. In fact, there's this one moment in the movie where Mario and Donkey Kong are kind of like sitting around, and they're, you know, sulking, and they're talking about how their fathers are disappointed in them. Mario says something like, "My father's disappointed in me too. He thinks I'm a loser too." And then you think they're gonna have like this touching, like, you know, moment where they understand each other, but then Donkey Kong just kind of turns around and is like, "Yeah, well, your dad's right. You are a loser." So it kind of just, like, it jettisons that whole, you know, cliched moment that so many, you know, animated family movies have, where the characters are, like, getting sad and they're like opening up to each other. It just does away with that. So, you know, it's just telling you in that moment Don't take this movie seriously. This is a dumb comedy about a plumber who's rescuing a princess from a cartoon turtle who breathes fire, and there's mushrooms everywhere. Speaking of mushrooms, when Mario first arrives in the Mushroom Kingdom from the magic pipe, he's looking around at all the mushrooms. He sees this one mushroom, a blue one, on the ground, and he's about to touch it, when suddenly Toad comes bursting out from behind it, and he says, "Don't touch that, you'll die," and like a jump scare. But before he does that, Toad was just like sitting there perfectly still, so Mario couldn't see him. And just wondering, what was Toad doing before he popped out at Mario? Like, he was just sitting there, like, as if he's trying to avoid being noticed. Like, was he just, like, what was he doing before Mario got there? Was he stroking his mushroom cap? The movie's soundtrack consists mostly of orchestrated renditions of classic Mario songs. Like, there's like the castle theme from Super Mario 64. There's a bunch of Mario music from like a bunch of different Mario media. It's all the recognizable music from all the games. It's all like orchestrated and epic and stuff. But for some reason, they also include a bunch of like 80s rock songs, like licensed 80s rock songs. Like at one point they played Thunderstruck by AC/DC. It's like, why? What does this have to do with anything? Was it just it's 80s video game, so you put 80s music in it? No. Just make it all Mario music. Like, who cares what decade Mario started in? So, I don't know, I guess those are my disorganized thoughts on the new Mario movie. It was I didn't hate it. I'm not gonna say it's not like the greatest movie ever made, but it wasn't terrible. It was a lot better than I thought it was gonna be. In fact, I would go so far as to say it was actually pretty good. I wasn't expecting high art from it. It's not gonna change your life, but, you know, it's entertaining, it's funny. Yeah, it's a pretty good, okay movie. Nothing really to get mad at, so I don't know. Like, comment, subscribe, support me on Patreon, send me your fan art. I guess I'm done. Bye.